call this first meeting of January of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners to order. If you'd please rise, join us for invocation from Stacy Swager from Abundant Life Kansas City Pregnancy Center, followed by the pledge.
Father God, we just thank you for this day. As there have been so many extremes in our county, the sadness and the joy, the blessings and the pain, our leaders, I know, feel so much more responsible for us than we give them credit for sometimes, and that comes with a heavy burden. I just ask this morning that you relieve that burden from their shoulders, that they remember that you are the one that holds us all, that you give them wisdom and discernment, that you give them peace in all their decisions regarding all that goes on in our county. There are no small decisions, but they're all decisions that you have already seen. I ask that you just give them a purpose and a sense of just a little bit of sovereignty in their authority, Lord, that you have ordained them to be in this position for this time, for this day. And we thank you, Lord, and bless you in your holy, precious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Stacy. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Bryant.
Present.
Planning and Zoning Director Simpleman.
Present.
Thank you. We move on to approval of the agenda. I am unaware of any changes or additions.
Mr. Chair, I also know of no changes we need to make to today's agenda, so I move to approve as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded for approval of the agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carried.
On to the consent agenda. I see that we are not scheduling any public hearings today.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda, which we should probably note also includes the ratification of the chairman's signature on a lease agreement at the airport and the renewal of the hotel and restaurant liquor license for Holt Family Recreation.
Done?
Done.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded for approval of the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, we'll start with administrative and informational, but we'll start with the county clerk's monthly report.
Thank you, Mr.
morning.
Chair.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. The total motor vehicle fees, sales tax, recording fees collected for December of last year are $975,880.93. Of that portion for disbursement from Fremont County is $571,819.26, which is 59% of the total fees and is $66,875.53 less than December of last year in 2020, or the previous December in 2020. Year to date, so for the entire year of 2021, our office is up $1,092,632.90. Business was booming last year.
Wow, once again, yeah.
Wow.
So I know that I've been driving around and lots are starting to pick back up, but cars are also driving off that quick. So just be prepared for another few months like that. And with taxes coming back here February, March, it'll pick up once again as well.
You know, and it's kind of interesting because even before the world shut down with COVID and stuff like that, we're continually seeing increases in vehicle sales, and we thought, well, it's going to stop one of these days. And so far, it just keeps going and going. It's pretty amazing.
You know, it's that sales and demand thing. As cars go by, prices go up and people still buy. So other than that, I have nothing else to report.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move to accept the county clerk's monthly report for the month of December 2021.
Second, I suppose.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the county clerk's December monthly report. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Clerk Grantham. Go on to sales and tax report. We have Christine Cohen, she's our financial officer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So for our Fremont County, this is the retail sales tax through October 2021, $674,999. Year-to-date, we are at $7,020,527, which is up 9.6 over last 2020. For the auto use tax, going off of the prior, it is at $124,357 for November. Year-to-date, $1,426,755. We are definitely in a recovery. For the construction use, for the month of November, $96,525. Year-to-date, we're at $485,874, exceeding 2021 year-to-date already by $57,761. For our lodging tax, we're year-to-date through October, $287,407. For the month of October 2021, $12,435. Moving on to sheriff. Reflecting the same numbers, just at their percentage, through October 2021, $449,999. Again, an increase year-to-date, $4,680,359. Auto use. Through the month of November 2021, $82,905. Year-to-date, $951,170. Construction use tax for the sheriff. Through November of 2021, $64,293. Year-to-date, $329,829. Thank you.
Another wow.
Yeah.
Those are some
increases,
pretty big
yeah, it's
numbers,
pretty
too.
amazing.
Yes, they are. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodness. Okay. Is there anybody up here that have anything to say
Perhaps.
this morning, possibly? Commissioner Bell.
I just wanted to make a note that it is legislative session again here in Colorado. We had a meeting just yesterday at noon with Florence and Canyon City officials and talked a little bit about the fact that we will have, once again, a host of new legislation coming down the barrel at all of us. And so the three of us sitting here are very, very involved with not only state, but also some of the federal issues that are happening and going on. And so we will once again start attending some Colorado County Incorporated meetings. We will also be attending National Association of County to be able to get out there and truly advocate for our citizens because we know what's best for rural Colorado, and those up in Denver typically don't. So just a note, we've got a lot of meetings coming up.
That's an understatement to hear that last part. Commissioner Grantham.
Not much to add, but just to make note, I do appreciate Commissioner Bell's use of the metaphor of looking down the barrel and not, because we are usually on the business end of that barrel as the legislature comes into session. We in the local governments and the rural areas of Colorado. So we will do our best to pay attention on how that affects the citizens of Fremont County through legislation and policy, and hope to keep you informed as best we can and fight for what we need to fight for and against.
Yeah, and I encourage anyone that sees anything that we may not be aware of, which may not happen, but to reach out to us, and we'll gladly put up a battle for that one as well. Looking out for all of us, because it is tough, and rural Colorado seems to be in the crosshairs as like agriculture is, and we're fighting for that tooth and nail federally and locally. I just want to remind everybody once again, we are under stage 1 fire restrictions, and the wind has been just crazy. So be very careful outside. Don't do any outdoor burning, and be smart when you're out there. Anything else from anyone up here? Okay, this is opportunity for any citizens who wish to address the commissioners for anything not scheduled on the agenda. If we have anybody, now would be the time to come up. Okay, not seeing any. We'll move on. We have no old business. Jump right into new business. This is where we reorganize the Board of County Commissioners. So I will ask Commissioner Grantham.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I would move that we appoint Commissioner Debbie Bell as chairperson for the 2022 calendar year.
I'll second that.
Okay. Now, we honestly, we do have this conversation prior to this meeting and talk about a lot of different scenarios and visions, and we usually have an idea of what we're doing when we come into this meeting. So I just would say thank you again for the trust that you're placing in me as your chair.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Commissioner Bell as chairperson for the year 2022, Board of Fremont County Commissioners. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
With all that said, aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. Oh, the other part of this is we do need a chairman pro tem for 2022. So with that, Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Commissioner Grantham as chairman pro tem 2022.
I will second that. It has been moved and seconded to appoint Commissioner Grantham Chair Pro Tem for the year 2022 for the Fremont County Board of Commissioners. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, we're going to do a little shuffle. Hold tight.
Told you I was going here.
Commissioner Grantham did warn us that he was going to do that, but I really didn't think he would. So, before we move on with our further business for the day, I have one other thing that I would like to say. Commissioner McFall and I were sitting up here just before the meeting started, talking about, again, what a really hard year 2021 was. We all know our entire world changed in 2020. And 2021 saw those changes continue. We saw a lot of new things. We still were dealing with some old things that none of us really had much of an idea in how to deal with. And we needed really great leadership to be able to take us through those moments. And so I just would like to take a moment to thank Commissioner McFall for his service as chairman from last year. And with that, I have a much vaunted, very beautiful gavel plaque to present to him.
Well, thank you.
So, there you go.
Thank you. Yeah, 2020 and 21 were both pretty interesting, to say the least. We were at the point of a lot of attacks, which were never, what's the word I'm looking for? Shouldn't ever happen, but we had to defend ourselves, but as well as the county all year long, and I appreciate it. I'm going to keep fighting for Fremont County because that's what I want to do. So thank you.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's our job. All right. Okay, moving on with new business today, we have the ability to appoint a county attorney. This is a statutory obligation that we do every year, and so we have had, I would like to let you all know, our current county attorney, Miss Brenda Jackson, is currently in her 30th year, I believe, is correct?
Maybe.
As just finishing her 30th year as serving the entire citizenry of Fremont County as your county attorney. So we once again are looking at appointing, I believe, Brenda Jackson, but I will turn to my fellow commissioners for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we appoint Brenda Jackson as a Fremont County attorney for the year 2022.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to appoint Brenda Jackson to her 31st year as county commissioner for
County Commissioner.
county commissioner. How about
Excellent.
county
You
attorney?
wanna sit
I was
down here?
looking at the wrong person here, so, no, I can't imagine that you would. She's the smart one up here. As county attorney for 2022. Any further discussion?
No, Brenda, I'd just like to thank you for your assistance in a lot of these trying times that we've had, I guess. Your legal advice comes in handy, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I, just to reiterate on that too, the knowledge, for folks that don't know, you know, how the sausage is made sometimes, it's invaluable having that look from across 31 years. And knowing the history on how things have worked and how they haven't worked over that course of time, and it's invaluable to us as commissioners. So very much appreciated, Brenda.
Thank you.
And one of the things I have truly appreciated the most is the vast amount of knowledge that you have of Fremont County. And those historical questions, anytime no one else has an answer, we always turn to Brenda. And she pretty much always, if she doesn't know it up here, she can find it in her files. And that truly has been just invaluable to us as commissioners and to an entire county. So I also would say thank you so much for your service.
Thank you for your confidence in me.
All right, and with that, we have a motion and a second to appoint Brenda Jackson as county attorney for the year 2022. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We have our first resolution of the year. I believe this will be number 1. Is that correct?
I hope so.
Okay.
If it isn't, something happened.
Yes. This is to designate and approve our official depositories for Fremont County for 2022. Our county treasurer has provided us with the list of depositories that are appropriate for the investment of county funds. And she has made certain that each of these depositories do meet the requirements state statute. So this recommends naming Sunflower Bank of Canyon City, Colorado Surplus Asset Fund Trust, Colo Trust, and Bank of the San Juans Glacier Bank. So with that recommendation, gentlemen, I turn to you.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve resolution number 1, series of 2022, resolution designating and approving the official depositories for Fremont County, Colorado in 2022.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 1, naming and approving the official depositories for Fremont County for 2022 as described. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Up next is another resolution to designate. This one is going to be to designate the schedule for regular meetings for the Fremont County Board of Commissioners. You all may be aware, it has been tradition here for many years to host our regular monthly meetings on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of each month at 9:30 a.m. here in the board meeting room.
Madam Chair, I move to approve resolution number 2, designating the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of each month at 9:30 to be the regular business meeting of the Fremont County Commissioners.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2, designating the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of each month at 9:30 a.m. for official Board of County Commissioners meetings. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Continuing with our housekeeping resolutions to begin the year, item number 5 is resolution number 3, designating an official newspaper for Fremont County. We do have 3 legal publications here in Fremont County: the Canyon City Daily Record, which is published 6 days a week; the Florence Citizen, which has been a weekly publication, but as of the first of the year is going online only; and the Fremont County Crusader, which is a weekly publication. So with those options, gentlemen, I will ask for your wishes.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve resolution number 3, which would designate the official newspaper for Fremont County, which is the Canyon City Daily Record.
Second.
I will note that even though the Daily Record is our official newspaper for legal notices and such, we will continue to work with both the Fremont County Crusader and the Florence Citizen to disperse information to all of our citizens to let folks know what is happening. So we have a motion and second on the floor. Further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to note also that Fremont Crusader has also went digital. It's apparently getting very, very expensive to print these papers. And I don't know what will happen with the Daily Record, but at this time it comes out daily, so it becomes the best source to get the information out quickly. I think they're going away, as we can see, so we'll see what happens in the future, but that's the way it'll be for now.
All right, further discussion. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item 6, resolution number 4, designating the official posting place for notice of public meetings for the Fremont County Board of Commissioners. We've done, I think, a lot of work over the last few years in adding additional posting places that are legal places for us, which means we have more work to do, but we also think that it gets the information out to our public in a much better and more timely fashion. So today, our resolution describes the website of fremontco.com, the bulletin board in the hallway outside the offices of the Fremont County Commissioners, which is in room 105. That's on the main level. Also, the bulletin board located at the main entrance, which is to the south of the Fremont County Administration Building.
Madam Chair, I move to approve resolution number 4, designating those places that you just mentioned for postings of public meetings for the Fremont County Board of Commissioners.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to designate those 3 separate spaces as our official public posting place for notice of public meetings for Fremont County Board of Commissioners. Is there further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, next item, and this is our last item of new business for consideration today, is the renewal of a tavern liquor license for the VFW Post 2788, which is located in Penrose at 402 Broadway. And we have with us this morning, Commander, maybe? Is that your title? Jerry Rimpley.
Not just yet.
Not
Hit
quite.
the button on that microphone. There you go.
Not just yet. Next year, I will be the state of Colorado commander for the VFW, but right now, I'm just the senior vice commander for the
Just
state
the
of
senior
Just the
vice
senior vice
commander.
commander
Okay,
for the state
well,
of Colorado.
congratulations ahead of time for what
Thank
you're
you.
looking at doing next
Thank you,
year.
and I wish to extend an invitation. We will be having our convention, I believe it's the weekend of June 23rd, where I will be installed as the department commander. The convention will be held here in Canyon, as that's where I've requested it to be, so that many of my friends and family and y'all could attend. So I'll be seeing you probably end of March anyway for the Loyalty Day Parade temporary use permit. I mean, I've got a every 3-month appointment with y'all, don't I? So, in regard to the liquor license application, I did submit a letter to you explaining that it was my fault. I was overcome by events. I'm a volunteer when it comes to doing this, and I'm also a state officer, but I am still the finance officer for the Post in Penrose. And during that time, what we were doing was trying our hardest to raise funds. We received a list from a local point of contact that coordinates with the Penrose School of families that need assistance at Christmas. This year's list held 61 kids' names, doubled what we had the year before. And we had only raised $485 during our annual toy run that was held in September. So we had to do a lot of cajoling and asking and begging folks to support this wonderful, wonderful cause, which I am pleased to state that we did raise an additional $1,971 from private donors, and we did buy toys, a set of clothes, and shoes for 61 children. It took time, though. It took a lot of time, and I apologize for not looking at this as a priority, but it just got beside me. I did come in person, though, as soon as I could, to pay the liquor license fee and complete all the documentation as necessary so that it wasn't going to be any later than it was already. I just beg for your forgiveness on this one.
Okay, let's turn next for a staff report, and then we'll see if we have questions or comments for you.
Yes, Madam Chairman.
Okay. The applicant, their application was due by November 21st in 2021, and it was received by our department on December 6th. But they are requesting the late fee be waived, and they have provided us with all the necessary documentation.
So everything is in order for the license itself?
Yes.
Okay. Jerry, I would like to ask, is this the first time that you have been late with this application fee,
Yes, Madam Chair.
or with this application itself? All right, gentlemen?
First of all, appreciate what you guys do for those kids. That's amazing to come up with 61 clothing, toys, whatever. I mean, that's amazing. So thank you for doing that.
It's a lot of shopping.
Yeah, it's a lot of shopping for stuff that you may not know a lot about now with the kids.
I don't
yeah.
have children, so yeah, it was a challenge for myself. I'll be honest with you. I can shop for dogs.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Jerry, that the letter was sent out October 20th. It was due by November 21st, and then it was the end of December, or the 1st of December before you reacted to it. I know you were busy, but there's a lot of time in there, and I'm sure that you have other financial responsibilities with the club as well. So those kind of play into effect, I think, as well.
I understand, but respectfully wish to let you also know that I didn't get the documentation from the Department of Revenue until way after 21 October also. And I had to wait for that paperwork. And their suspense was 24 November.
Anything else? Commissioner Grantham? No. While he's looking.
Yeah, could you say that again? What? So
I
the-
received
yeah.
a letter from Fremont County, but I had not received the application from the Department of Revenue. And when I did receive that application, the suspense on it was 24 November. But I needed these documents to bring in to the liquor clerk,
Gotcha,
and I didn't have them in my hand.
gotcha, okay.
Are you current with every other financial obligation?
Yes, we
Sewer,
are.
water, power?
Yes. I will state that we have a current dispute with sanitation that we're going to pursue in court. That's where it needs to be settled.
Okay, thanks.
Are you actively working on getting that dispute resolved?
Yes, we're going to take it to court.
Okay.
Okay.
Other questions, issues? I am prepared for a motion.
Madam Chair, would move that we approve the renewal of tavern liquor license for VFW Penrose Post 2788, located at 402 Broadway in Penrose.
Are you addressing the waiver?
Yes, and I would include in that motion a waiver of the late fee.
Oh, second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the renewal of your tavern liquor license for the VFW Post 2788 in Penrose, Colorado, and this motion does include a waiver of the late fee for $100, so that if this motion passes, that would be refunded back to you since you already paid it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Further discussion?
No, just keep it in mind for next year. I know you guys do a great job, but you've also got to maintain your business as well.
Agreed.
And I understand you're a volunteer,
Agreed.
but still, you've got to keep the things above board, so.
Agreed.
Thanks.
Even with the temporary use permits,
Right.
I'm making notes now when you're meeting again, so I'll know when to be here well in advance to work with Micah. I
Right,
know
get
I
your
kind of
timeframes
put
and all
them
that. Yep, thank
a
you.
little tight before.
Yeah, I would just echo that because a lot of organizations in the county volunteer run and take care of things on time. But we do appreciate the fact that you were responsive when this was brought up and that you took care of things. So, thank you.
I would agree with that, but I also would just make the note, I truly appreciate what all of you do out there. You all are veterans, you served our country, which is something that not everyone can say. And I think you do a really, really good job of helping take care of your entire community right now. And so, yeah, 61 kids, that's a pretty impressive number. So I just want to say thank you for that. Doing that amount of fundraising in that time, that was a very short amount of time. And so
was.
congratulations to you and all of those who helped.
Thank you.
All right, are we ready? Let's do roll call.
All right. Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, and on behalf of the veterans, we would like to thank you also for taking care of us when you do consider legislation throughout the year, because I know I've seen a lot of your resolutions, and you have taken a lot of resolutions and passed them considering veterans in mind, and I truly appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
you.
We'll see you in March.
All right. The hour has reached 10 a.m. We have 2 public hearings scheduled for this morning. The first is an SRU 004 for 21-004 for Echo Land requesting a special review use permit approval for 8 glamping structures and rental house on 16.16 acres located at 45120 West US Highway 50 in Canyon City, which is zoned agricultural rural. And we have with us this morning Alex Ewers. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Thanks for having me this morning.
All right, so do you want to describe your project to us? But first, let me go ahead and open this public hearing. Again, we have to remember how to do all this.
Appreciate
it. All right, go ahead.
Absolutely. So if y'all are familiar with Echo Canyon, Andy Ninus has his rafting company up there in addition to the cabins and glamping development that he has on the south side, directly across the street from his rafting company. So he currently has a very successful cabin and glamping business there, and he purchased this property to the south with the intent of expanding it. So he's adding these few glamping structures. They'll be very similar to what he has going on now. The intent is to keep the same thing he has going and just expand a little more. The difference being that he has a lot of glamping clients that would also like to have bathrooms in their glamping tents. So that's the main difference between what he has going on now compared to what he has going on in the future. So you can see our site plan here. He is very focused on having it spread out, nice rural environment, very low lighting, and yeah, that is our design.
All right, gentlemen, questions at this time?
The only thing I have at this time, if you put a bathroom in there, does that change the terminology from glamping to something different?
I am not the authority on that, so I'm not going to weigh in.
It's crazy. That's all I have at this point.
All right, anything? Okay, let's turn next to Planning and Zoning Director Micah Simpleman for a staff report. Good morning, Micah.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and congratulations.
Thank you, I think.
So the referring agency's comments, the Fremont County Department of Transportation has no comments and approves. Fremont County project engineer also approves this. The Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment, their only concern was they wanted to see a contract with Howard Disposal, which we did receive.
Okay.
The applicant is requesting a variance for a 50-foot setback on the 2 northern glapping sites. And my department does recommend approval of this, as long as that they do get that variance of the setbacks.
So that would need to go to Board of BOCC
BOCC, yes, sir.
for a setback variance.
So that step would take place after a decision today if we make one?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it contingency, I would assume?
Yes, yes. All right, questions for Micah? Comments? No? All right, anything else before we go to the public? All right. Seeing none, let me ask if there's anyone here today who would like to stand up and speak about this special review use permit. Good morning. Absolutely. Come on up, and if you'll hit the button on the microphone so we can hear from you, and give us your name.
Good morning, and allow me time to talk to you, commissioners. My name is Eric Johnson. Formerly own the property that's being under special reuse permit today, and currently the neighboring neighbor across the fence from him. I received a letter from the Department of Zoning, and I was just curious to know, has there been what considerations for the sewer drainage, the amount? I understand from previous owners that put in many lots, there's a certain vault system that contains the sewage and gray water, and how that's going to be distributed and where. Mainly because there's two drainages that come out of that facility that may impact some of my future development, and I just wanted to make sure that that has been looked at, and or it's a contained system that's pumped, that's fine. Also, the public access into that property, I've talked with the owner, we've kind of got an agreement because we have a unique gate that offers 50-50 of land access, which was designed years ago when I rezoned it, replotted it, because they wanted to have permanent access to the home at 45-130. That's the residential house. As you can see up on the left-hand corner, the northwest corner, that was designed to allow access into the property in case of the event the driveway to the home that's now being considered as a commercial home would ever get landlocked or something to that effect. So I didn't receive any information about what the project was, and I've been out of town. I had some medical surgery going on, and so I was curious to know if there's a time period that I can talk with the owner about his expansion prior to any decision today, and the public impact of the property, and how he's going to maintain no trespassing, and or help people decide to hike in the night, because they still do cattle, and it's still an area of hunting, and it has some delicate historical value that I've found, that I'm concerned about the public impact and how that's going to happen. So with that said, is there any further proceedings that you have to go over?
So what I would say, Mr. Johnson, these kind of questions are exactly what today's public hearing is for. So we'll see if anyone else would choose to rise and speak. If they have questions or anything else, we will turn next to Mr. Simpleman to see if he can address some of those questions. But we also will have the applicant come and we'll probably bring him up first and have him come up and answer those questions for you.
Very good.
So, okay.
That is all I have.
So Eric, before you run off, a clarification on that northwest corner. So that's an easement, but that one section of property has been added to his property for entrance? Is that what you're saying, right?
When I redid the boundaries to have this place available for sale, at the time, the county did not recognize a 45-year-old driveway to the house. It made no sense to me of why they wanted to attach a piece of property to the land, but after Mr. Martinez explained it, I could understand that. Now that, and when I redesigned that property, I kept the 60-foot easement that the county off Dixon Court would be for future development, so that would maintain any kind of county road that ever developed. But they decided to put that in just as more of a documentation. There was access to property for the main home, and again, in case it got landlocked or somehow the driveway disappeared. So that's my only concern, is how much public impact that there is. And like I said, I have been out of sorts here, and I've been not received any information from the project about what the plan is. So if that's all it takes, that's all it takes. But
Okay.
my main thing was just with any type of sewage and drainage and leaching, because it's obviously a concern being downhill. So anyways, that's how that came into play. It was kind of a harmless thing. We have a 50-50 agreement already about usage and moving the gate to accommodate his needs. But I just didn't have this to look at prior to this meeting, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to rise and speak at this public hearing? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing portion and turn to Alex for some answers, if he would so choose.
Thank you very much, and thank you for bringing up those concerns. Those really are great comments to bring up. So a few things that I think will alleviate a few of your concerns are, first, the OWTS that we designed, the septic system. It's over on the southwest corner there. It was designed just like any residential OWTS. The difference is it's larger because we have a number of glamping sites going into it. We do have a track record of designing several OWTS, both in this county and around the state. And I can definitely assure you that you won't have any influence on your property from this OWTS as far as this goes.
So Alex, we need
yes.
you to address us, if you would.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. But the OWTS was designed per Regulation 43, which is the state regulation, in addition to the county regulations, which Mr. Sanders has put together. And it has been reviewed, and I believe it has been approved. And if not, Mr. Sanders is welcome to address that. We have no concerns about it. It shouldn't. There's no kind of gray water system. There's no storage, anything like that. The only tank that will be there is the tank that is the septic tank. You know, it settles out the solids. It brings the grease up to the top. So then it gets pumped out every 2 years is what we usually recommend for a project like this. The second item, Dixon Court there, is over, or Dixon Lane rather, on the northwest side. So that access there, that is only meant for employee access and emergency access. It's really a backup. All of the guests will all be coming through the existing access off of Highway 50 there. And this is really just a secondary access for emergencies and in case staff need to use it for any kind of maintenance, things like that. We don't anticipate that any guests will ever be coming through this access. It's not the intent, and it wouldn't work well with how this development flows and how it functions.
So very low traffic.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Is there anything else I left
Anything
out that I
else?
can address?
I think we're good. Any other questions? And I doubt it, but Micah, did you have anything else that you would like to add to that conversation?
No, ma'am, I think he answered everything
All
real
right.
well.
Thank you. Other questions, concerns?
No, there are some waiver requests though, correct? Micah, is that right? Here they are. Yeah, waiver of asphalt and concrete surface.
So hard surfacing.
Yeah, hard surfacing. There's one for increased impervious surface, existing drainage channel. Staff recommends a minor variance in the stormwater plan. Has that been addressed? And then, well, it talks about the variance and what you just talked about on the entrance that Mr. Johnson was worried about as well.
So as for the stormwater, yes, the county engineer did review it and he approved that.
Okay, so there are 4 separate waiver requests, but our notes also show that staff recommends approval of all 4 of those.
Right, okay.
Okay. Anything else? I am prepared to accept a motion.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve SRU 21-004 for Echo Land, requesting for 8 more glamping structures and rental houses on 16.6 acres located at 45120 West US Highway 50 in Canyon City, zoned agricultural rural, with a contingency of a 50-foot setback variance that needs to be approved by BOCC before anything happens.
And waivers?
And the approval of the 4 waivers that the staff recommended also, which is the existing drainage channel, approval of the minor variance of the storm water drainage plan, the dust mitigation and erosion, which would be hard surface requirement, the 30-foot wide entrance. Let me see how to, I guess I'll just read this one. Have found the adjacent property to the west of the project site. Proposed entrance is 30 foot in width, a variance for the access width to 30 foot. And then the road grade waiver request, since it is a short section of road that exceeds 6% grade. And the owner has responsibility for maintaining the internal roads.
Second.
One quick note. Sorry. Oh, get back here. Page 12 of our documents does show that the Planning Commission also recommended a contingency to put up some sort of lighting, but leaving the design to the discretion of the owners. So I just need to clarify if you would like to include that in the motion or not.
No, you know, I read that, but I don't know what the plan is with lighting. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
My thought was, I don't want lights out there. I'm camping, but I don't know what the glampers do.
All right. Seeking clarification,
Yeah.
not asking you to include. So, okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion and second on the floor to approve SRU 21-004 Echo Land, requesting a special review use permit for the 8 glamping structures and rental house located at 45120 West US Highway 50, with the one contingency of receiving the setback encroachment waiver from BOCC and the 4 waivers as previously described. All right. Further discussion?
No.
All right, let's do roll call.
Commissioner McFall,
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And this will be resolution number 5? Okay. We do have one more public hearing to come before us this morning. This is SRU 21-002 Phantom Canyon RV Ranch major modification. We're requesting approval of a major modification to existing special review use permit 20-001 for 20 additional travel self-contained trailers, modification of operational characteristics, installation of an on-site wastewater treatment system, reduction on the recreation area, the addition of 23,476 square feet of storage areas and structures on 29.79 acres, which is located at 505 County Road 67 in Penrose and is zoned agricultural forestry. We have Dr. Bellantoni with us this morning, who is going to be the representative for this particular application. With that, I will open this public hearing. Good morning, Dr. Bellantoni.
Good morning, Madam Chair, again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
Happy 2022. And I just want to say thank you, County Attorney Jackson, for being that consistent institutional memory. That's an obligation, isn't it? It's a privilege, too. Thank you. It keeps us running. Good morning. A little history, only because it puts some things in context that will be discussed today. This project was first approved unanimously on March 10th of 2020. The contingencies were submitted and accepted by, excuse me, then Director Garrett, excuse me, on August 20, 2020. Things didn't go well, and we were called before you on, see, you got me all choked up.
You need some water? You need some water?
On April 13th of 2021, at which time the message was clear: follow the rules, abide by the guidance of Director Garrett, abide by the rules of the the building department. The applicant, the operator, we have here today, Mitch Slayton and Brian Gipple, said, yes, ma'am, and they did receive that and took it very seriously. So Mr. Garrett then called us to a meeting on April 29th of 2021, at which Mr. Saunders was there, I was there, Three Rocks Engineering was there, Sagar, Mr. Singe was there, Mr. Gipple, Alex Ewers, Three Rocks Engineering is the engineer. So everybody was present there to discuss this. And a couple of things came to our attention right out the gate. And one was the requirement for the bathhouse, not an issue, except that it's not on here. It's not on the approved 2020 site plan, nor was the septic tank located on here. And when that came to our attention, the part of the misunderstanding between March 10th and April 13th was that the applicants, after they got this review, just went to the building department or just went to the Department of Transportation for permits. And what they learned is that's not what you do. The first step was going to see Mr. Garrett in planning. Since it's an SRU, there's an extra level of oversight. And so they recognized that that's what they had not been doing. And that's where the, yes, you can have a shed, you don't know, that sort of thing. That's not real for an SRU. You have to go get the approval from the planning department. So they understood that. So at the time of this April 29th, when it came to our attention that neither the septic tank, which a design was submitted, or the bathhouse, which is required in 48 months, was on this site plan, technically, because of the code that says you cannot make a modification without a minor or a major application, Sean said, stop. Submit a major modification. Don't do anything. You can't apply for a building permit of any sort without an approved site plan. So they stopped. I submitted an application on May 24th of 2021 because the hope was that then before the Board of County Commissioners in July, and then they're rocking and rolling come August, but then we all know that the county had challenges and things got delayed. So here we are. Then comes December 7th, recognizing new leadership. And the request at the Planning Commission was, well, why don't you have the bathhouse done? Well, because we don't have an approved site plan. But they still held them to needing that. That being said, the applicants have proceeded with applying for a bathhouse. They have submitted the requested quotes for the septic tank construction. They're waiting for those now. So they're kind of caught in a catch-22. Don't do something, or do we do something? Know that recognizing who's in charge, we have a new leader, they're going with the current leadership. And so from December 7th, that's what they're doing, just to let you know, okay? So to that, yes, the changes that you mentioned in your description, the winds seem to be our friend these days. Not kidding. We gave up water for wind. The applicant would like to add to their site plan, please, a wind fence, if you will. And what it would be wooden posts with a wildlife rectangular opening. And they would like to place it on the east side of the east boundary of the RV spaces. so that the prevailing westerlies, anything that is loose can be caught. It can be some protection to be a good neighbor to properties to the east because of the winds. Does that make sense? You're frowning, Commissioner
So
Grantham.
all the way over on the east side,
Of the RV spaces, just of the RV spaces. It's
Not
what.
to the property line you're talking
Correct,
about.
not the property line, right to the on the RV spaces. And it would be a wooden post with the wildlife weave in it. And it's just all the way down that side to help with the winds that they've had lately have really been a challenge. So that's number one. Also, something that's been accomplished on the site are the lights have been installed. They have the 3 lights that were proposed have been installed, and they love them, and they would like to install 3 more if possible. So there's another change.
So, Angela, 3 are installed, or
They
the
were
4
just-
that were originally?
They were originally here, and they were finally installed, because back to that April 29th, don't do anything, but then on December 7th, why isn't it done? And so they went right away, December 8th, made the phone call, Maine Electric got in queue, they have 3 poles. Those 3 poles are done.
So just for my clarification, because, again, I'm going to pull the new guy card. When you're talking December and you're talking April, or you're talking these dates, you're talking 2020?
April 29th was 2021.
21.
December 7th was 2021, just 6 weeks
Gotcha.
ago.
Thank you. But the March 10th was the original approval back in 2020.
2020, that's correct.
Correct. And at that, there was a 24-month window to build the bathrooms,
right.
which would have been March 11th, 2022.
I'm sure everybody else understands the context perfectly. But when we're talking March to April, what first comes to mind is
March
a
to
month
April.
and a half,
Gotcha.
not
But
13 and a
no,
half.
13 and a half.
Yes.
Okay.
The other changes that are in the application is that because of the 60 spaces, there's a couple additional site assistants as described, and progress at the site includes, again, December 8th, Brian went directly to Three Rocks Engineering, said, okay, we got to get this building permit submitted, do some drawings. And so there have been some dialogues between Three Rocks, and I'm hoping the building department, that's out of my purview, but that's what I'm understanding. So they're on their way for that permit.
For what, clarify that, what's that permit for?
The bathroom structure.
Okay.
The bathroom structure. They have 3 bids out for the sanitation, and they're waiting to get whoever will get, they're going to get those and decide who's going to build them, and then they'll submit the application to building for the septic tanks. Part of my responsibility from December 7th was the roadway impact roadway impact form update. I, too, December 8th, got on the phone, email with Jeff Hodson of LSC Transportation Consultants out of Colorado Springs, which I've used for decades now. I can't believe I can say that. And I have been pushing him, and this morning he sent me an email with what will be in the form now that I should have next week. He chose a 70% occupancy, which is a good occupancy, and in his form he will state that the majority of trips arrive from and depart to County Road 6 to the south and onto County Road 67. He doesn't see that this increase in trips will require a CDOT access permit or a study for the intersection. The project would not reach a 20% increase in the existing traffic count on the county road. The access site distances north and south are good. He wouldn't expect the need for a northbound lane, but he is going to do the calculations and confirm that. He expects that the access intersection level of service is good and would meet the county standards. And he says that this trip increase is relatively low percentage of the carrying capacity of County Road 67. And I forwarded this to Mr. Simpleman this morning. Again, I just got this morning. But again, everybody, as soon as December 7th, and they said, get going, they got going. And I know that things haven't always gone well. Again, I want to just understand that on April 29th, and Mr. Garrett was really, really clear, because the road surfacing with the gravel wasn't working, the clay out there wasn't working, and Brian had an idea for how to do amendment with asphalt, crushed asphalt, to possibly make a better surface, because that is tough ground out there. He just, things like that. And Mr. Garrett said, stop until we can get this approved, thinking that we'd have this done in July and site improvements would start immediately. So at this point, I guess I'm going to wait for Micah to go through the contingencies, since, what do you think?
We'll go ahead and do staff reports next.
Okay.
And we'll bring you back up when we're ready.
Okay, thank you,
Let
ma'am.
me-
Yeah, questions at this point?
Yeah, real quick, as far as the road impact, traffic
Yes, sir.
counts and stuff and occupancy, and you mentioned that yours is based on what, 70% occupancy, you said?
Well, this is what Mr. Hodson chose. I mean, I like that, because whereas previously it was on 50, he's going to update that form for a 70% occupancy. And he also said that these trips are primarily the patrons coming in and out, as opposed to an actual RV, because of the duration of stay. So it's really those patrons who are staying, it's their individual vehicles that will come in and out.
And if I
yes.
could, 70% of the
Occupancy.
occupancy, but you're looking at 60 rather than the 40, right? So this would be
Correct.
if
Everything's
approved.
total.
Okay.
Everything, that's
Okay.
another change, yes.
right.
Everything's total, 60,
Gotcha.
not a
Sorry about
change.
that.
No, but
Yes.
All right.
that's
Yes.
helpful, because, and that's I take it, that's an averaged out occupancy over a 12-month period then, but it doesn't account for, I mean, that would assume some much higher occupancies in peak months and
Yes.
lower and
Yes.
non. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
Anything at this time?
No.
All right, let's go ahead and turn to Planning and Zoning Director, Micah Simpleman. Good morning again.
Good morning again, Madam Chair. So going with the referring agency's comments, the Fremont County Department of Transportation has no issues at this time. Fremont County project engineer accepts their storm water drainage plan and report. The Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment, they have received numerous complaints. And if it's okay with you, at this time, I would like to have Mr. Sanders
Yes.
talk about those.
He was coming up next, so I thought I'd see if what you had to add to the conversation, and then we'll bring Mr. Sanders up.
Okay, and then I was going to just finish up with mine, but I can finish it up.
If you would, Micah, it's fine if you would like to have Wyatt come up at this time.
I think that
Sure.
may be.
We can do that. All right, our building official, Wyatt Sanders. Good morning, Wyatt.
Morning.
Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here.
For those who don't know me, I'm Wyatt Sanders. I'm the building official for Fremont County, and my department also regulates the OWTS sanitation portion of the Fremont County Department of Public Health and Environment. So this department had an opportunity to review the application for the modification of Phantom Canyon RV Ranch
also known as Phantom Canyon Estates. My recommendation for this project were originally submitted to the Director of Planning and Zoning in February of 2020 when SRU 20-001 was submitted as a travel trailer parking campground. This SRU was originally approved by the BOCC in March of 2020 under Resolution 19, Series of 2020. The resolution was approved with 3 contingencies along with multiple conditions. The contingencies were to be completed prior to commencing operations, but due to the parks being in operation, the BOCC set forth conditions that needed to be met within 6 months or as noted otherwise. One of those was to obtain all necessary approvals and permits in order to install a code-compliant dump station vault. It took until August of 2020 for the dump station vault to be fully operational. That's 4 to 5 months. Along with the dump station, the vault contingency, the BOCC set forth in place condition, that's under Resolution 19, 2.K, the applicant shall submit receipts to the Fremont County Department of Environmental Health on an annual basis to ensure that the dump station was being serviced. In July of 2021, at the time of the permit renewal, this department requested all documentation and receipts for servicing of the dump station. Although we did not receive a year's worth of receipts, we did receive 6 receipts, accounting for the month prior to the renewal.
So just to clarify, all 6 receipts were only for the month prior to renewal?
They went from the 1st of June into the first portion of July.
Thank you.
On condition 2.J was to obtain approval from the Fremont County Board of Health for the use of the portable chemical toilets prior to commencing any exploration activities in the expansion area. On the 28th of April 2020, the Board of Health approved the use of chemical toilets for the park. It took until June 3rd, 2020 to obtain the proper permits. That's 2+ months during the time the park was in operation. Condition 2.I set forth in Resolution 19 of 2020 was the application shall install permanent restrooms within 24 months of the date of approval of SRU 20-001. On January 5th, 22, the park made application for the restroom facility. This facility needs to be connected to an approved on-site wastewater treatment system. The park still has not made application for this on-site wastewater treatment system to accommodate the restroom facility. The dump station vault was approved as a temporary situation, but this should not be viewed as a large-scale, long-term solution. Therefore, this department is having difficulty approving an expansion of Phantom Canyon RV Ranch without installing the infrastructure for initial submitted plans as outlined in SRU 20-001. The park has been open since March of 2020 and has failed to meet all the sanitation contingencies and/or conditions set forth in Resolution 19 of Series 2020. Therefore, it is Fremont County Environmental Health Department recommendation to have all requirements for sanitation in place per the 2020 resolution prior to the approval of any expansion of the park. Furthermore, it is the recommendation of this department to have all the infrastructure in place prior to commencing operation in any expansion if approved by the BOCC. Please be advised, this park not only has to comply with the regulations of Fremont County, it has also to comply with Colorado Department of Public Health Environment regulations, the campground and regulations areas.
Quick question for you back, talking about the over 2 months that it took for approval for the chemical toilets by the Board of Health. Do you know if chemical toilets were in place and being used during the 2 months when they were not permitted?
I don't have any
You
recollection
don't know
of
that
that
answer.
or
Okay.
any evidence
That's fine.
to
Okay.
think otherwise.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Wyatt? Comments?
No, I think Wyatt, you have it pretty clear here what some of the problems are out there. With the wastewater, with the vault right now, is it working like it's supposed to? Because I know we had trouble with that initially as well.
Well, the vault is a 1,500-gallon vault, okay? That was not on the original plans either, okay? I just want to go back on something that Ms. Bellantoni stated. The plat or the plot plan itself did not include the OWTS system. That was a plat map, okay? There were other documents involved that did include this sanitation system. It would have never been approved by my office if we didn't have sanitation that was to be put in place. The dump station vault was put there, giving them time to put the sanitation system to accommodate the existing spaces, okay? Just to give you an idea, the park, if they had, let's say, an average of 20 spaces on average, okay, that was occupied. The state regulations say 50 gallons a day per site. If we took 20, multiplied that by 50, that vault would have a capacity of a day and a half. Okay? If we were more conservative and say, let's go 25 gallons, it would be a 3-day capacity. Okay? The receipts that I received were based on, let's say, a 6-day pump cycle. Where's the 1,500 gallons of wastewater that would have been accumulated? So I just feel, I don't feel confident that if we approve something like this without stepping back and starting with the 2020, and let's put a sanitation system in here, and before we move forward for the expansion, have those infrastructures in place. That's.
So I recall in the first public hearing, I had problems with this temporary sanitation as well. It never did make sense to me at all. And then there was an agreement to give them 24 months to build this toilet. It doesn't sound like they're going to have that done by March. There's probably no way that that's going to happen. But that vault also worries me. There's a lot of things that I'll look the other way, but when it comes to sewage, it's terrible. And then the way I've heard it's been being handled in different things out there. So that's why I want to know also if there's any other, where's that other 1,500 gallons? How did there's no service for that except for the 1 month. So is the sewage being handled properly all the time? Do we know that?
We have no evidence of
idea.
anything because of the lack of information provided to this department. I couldn't tell you, okay? And we can't make accusations or assume. We just hope they're doing the best for health reasons. But like I said, there's just too wide of a gap. 11 months is too wide of a gap. I mean, if I had a receipt here and there throughout the year, I could understand, okay? We could probably narrow it down. But the way it is right now with the receipts I gathered, okay, it would have to be very conservative per space at less than 13 gallons a day in order to accommodate the vault that is there.
So we have some pictures in our packet too of the I think it's the dump station. But there's another tank sitting there, looks like a sewage tank. This one's just sitting on the ground. There's another picture of one's on wheels. Do you know what those are?
I would only assume that they're accommodating these RV places by transferring the sewage from this RV to the dump station. I can only assume that. I can't verify that at all.
And then
And if that's the case, that wasn't the intent
right.
of the dump station vault.
They were supposed to pull the trailers over there and dump them.
Correct.
Yeah, I recall that. That's all I've got, Madam Chair.
Okay, you'll have an opportunity to respond, but we're going to continue first and allow Director Simpleman to finish his report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Thanks, Wyatt.
Thank you, ma'am. So, planning and zoning comments. On May 5th, 2021, an inspection was conducted, and the following was found. There was a camper set by the office in an unapproved spot. There was an unregistered van there, and there were a couple of inoperative, quote, wrecked vehicles that were also on the property. There was a commercial mile-high maintenance truck and trailer that appeared to be using a space as a contractor's yard. Next to the dump station, there was a hose and a transfer tank laying out. The non-potable water tank had collapsed. One space had a mattress laying under the camper. Another camper did not have any of their sewage hose capped. The entrance of the property had washed out, causing a dip between the county road and the driveway. And there was a large amount of dirt and mud being tracked out onto the county road. Then, on September 29th, 2021, another inspection was conducted with the following. The entrance of the property is located on the northeast corner of the property of County Road 67, just to kind of give you an idea. The applicant's original SRU, which was approved on March 10th, 2020, and the site plan indicated that a fence on the south side of the driveway indicates a fence on the south side of the driveway and a dumpster. Neither one was in place at that time. Approximately 60 feet south of the entrance, there should have been a 4x10 sign, which was not there. There were no trees along County Road 67 as the buffer, which should have been planted by then. Approximately 60 feet from County Road 67 and 60 feet from the driveway, there should have been 3 dumpsters on concrete slabs and fencing. There was only 1 dumpster on no slab and no fencing. Next to the 2,000-gallon cistern was a trailer with a water tank. This was not seen, but that's what we believe, that they were most likely dumping the sewage from the campers and then transferring them, because there appeared to be traces where it was leaking. Along the west side of the lot, there was a service road that was not indicated on the site plan. The driveway that travels between the two rows of lots had crushed stone, but the crushed stone stopped just past the lots, and it should have continued. There's, on the site plan, there were 2 lights that were supposed to be up, and it kind of did a circle drive for people to turn around. There was an extra lot on the west side, approximately behind lot number 16, that had a trailer there. At the south end of the driveway, there's indicated spot for a concrete slab and dumpsters that were not there. So at that time, there was only one dumpster for all the lots that they had. It appeared that they started the development of the new lots on the southwest end, and there were no 16-foot poles with LED lights at that time. Then again, on November 18th, 2021, there was another inspection. At their time, there were 2 campers with a lot of junk around them. There were 7 dogs on the property at 3 different lots that had what appeared to be permanent dog pens. 1 camper had a notice of eviction posted on the door, and again, at that time, there were no 16-foot light poles. Now, the most current inspection was conducted January 10th, 2022, which was yesterday. At that time, there were numerous campers that had been there for more than 90 days, and this was confirmed by prior and current photos of them. 2 campers with items stored underneath the campers. 1 camper had junk stacked up to include a refrigerator, and this is not a refrigerator from one of the, this is a standard refrigerator. And it was either an awning or a pop-up tent that was laying out there. The camper that had the notice of eviction posted on it in the last inspection was still there, but the notice was not on the door. The dump station had hoses laying around it, and the tank was still collapsed. An area outside of the campground had a pile of trash and debris. This would have been on the west side of it. So this department's concerns is that they have not been keeping up with the standard requirements. In the original SRU, our recommendation is that if this is approved, that all contingencies be met in the timeframes that we have asked them to be set at.
All right, thank you. Anything for Micah at this point?
No.
Okay, I know you'll have your turn, but first I am going to open this up to the public. This is a public hearing. I do have so far 1 speaker that I would like to call to the microphone, Mr. Paul Bond. If you would come on up, make sure you turn on the microphone for us. And if there's anyone else who would like to speak, please fill out one of these slips of paper from the back table and turn it into our clerk's representative here.
Good morning.
Turn on the microphone, please. Just that button right there. You go. Thank you.
I'd like to start by saying that on the Fremont County website, it's mentioned the Code of the West. The author was Zane Gray. The men and women who came to this part of the country are bound by an unwritten code of conduct. Goes on to talk about the value of integrity and self-reliance, being a good neighbor, etc. That's right on the website. With that being said, I would hope we can all here agree that words have meaning, so we need to be careful how we use them. I was here at the meeting March 10th in 2020. In March 10th in 2020, we were here, with the exception of Kevin Grantham, to talk about Phantom Canyon RV Ranch. I was allotted my time to speak. Would have liked to have had a rebuttal that should have been brought up, some inaccuracies that were told. Once again, when these inaccuracies were being told, words have meaning, so that they needed to be clarified. The first words out of my mouth to the commissioners was that I felt that there would be a low-budget trailer park being approved, and my memory is very distinct. I was told by the 2 of the commissioners that they weren't approving trailer parks in Fremont County at that time. In the meeting, Phantom Canyon RV Park stated, no campers would be there for more than 30 days. Now, I own the property just to the south, so I see this going on every day. The majority of those RVs have been there well over 30 days, in fact, months and months. Quite long term. Phantom Canyon RV and the representative said nobody longer than 30 days. Words have meaning. Only rigs less than 10 years old were to be allowed into this high-end luxury, that was the term that was used, luxury RV park. To the contrary, some rigs are nice enough, but many are not up to the standard that Phantom Canyon RV Park promised in that 2020 meeting. Once again, those words in my mind had meaning. That's why I came to this format. Let's talk about the term luxury and high-end. The county commissioners were presented with this grandiose idea and promises of a luxury RV park. I see black water, human waste, being collected camper by camper in a small tote, being dragged behind a truck or car to a vault in the ground. How you find someone willing to do this job, I don't know. I wouldn't want it, but it goes on. Fresh water was also being delivered to RVs in a similar fashion off of a trailer with a water tank. That was sold to you commissioners as being a luxury RV park, something that the county could be mighty proud of. I don't see it that way. You can also check the minutes of that meeting. Those were the words used, luxury RV park. In the March 2020 meeting, after all was said and done, Phantom Canyon RV Park was approved for 20 slots and units, and could open up with some contingencies. One of them was the bathroom facilities. We've already addressed that today. I probably don't need to say much more about that. It was said that the blue boxes were to be brought out. They were intended to be temporary. They're still there. They were to build permanent facilities that had to be constructed. This was all talked about at the March 2020 meeting. Once again, words have meaning. While we're spending some time talking about bathrooms and human waste, I realize that the Environmental Health Department has had issues with Phantom Canyon RV Park. The vault, I will agree with what was said earlier, is, according to the state, also is undersized for the 20 units that was approved. So a new one needed to, they started out with a small one, they upgraded. I was under the impression it was a 2,000 gallon. I learned today it was a 1,500 gallon. So they're way under the requirements there, or over the requirements, however you want to look at it. Let's fast forward to present times. There are far more than 20 units inhabiting or renting or squatting or whatever you want to call it on that RV park. At last count, about 27 or so. According to the Colorado state statute, each unit is figured at, now I was told a different figure than Wyatt. I called David Kurz. I've got his name and number here. He stated 100 gallons a day, meaning the vault is undersized and obviously not compliant. This now becomes a state issue. This can all be verified with a phone call to David Kurz, head of water quality control for the state. Phantom Canyon RV Park is over the wastewater capacity and can now become a state issue. Our local county environmental health officials can't do anything to enforce regulations or ordinances. They seem to have their hands tied or have been stonewalled somewhere along the bureaucratic process. I've been told also by people in planning and zoning, they're not welcome to come visit the park. They often meet conflict out there. So, leads me to wonder, is there something to hide? So, speaking of hiding, law enforcement visits have increased on Phantom Canyon Road. Oftentimes, I see Fremont County Sheriff's Department. They're at the RV park, somewhat frequently anymore. I actually called the Sheriff's Department to ask about this and was told that they've been out there more than normal. Didn't used to be that way in the past. And the deputy I talked to told me these places, if I'm going to use the term luxury RV park facetiously, they lend themselves well to drug activity and crime. Because once law enforcement starts wising up and they see what's going on, the offenders, not having permanent addresses, simply pack up and move on. Easy deal. Get out of town. If this were indeed a high-end luxury RV park, I think less law enforcement intervention would be necessary. That term luxury, high-end, $250,000 rigs was used at the first meeting in March of 2020. $250,000 rigs and vintage rigs.
So, Mr. Bond, just let me clarify for you that I think we all have gone back recently and reviewed not only the minutes from those meetings, but we also have reviewed the videotape of that previous public hearing. So you really don't need to, I mean, you've reminded us a couple of times, you don't need to berate the point and just continue and continue.
Well, I'll do the best I can here,
right,
because I'm trying to make the point that words have meaning.
And we understand the point that you are making, so.
Let's talk about another concern as the adjacent landowner. In the 2020 meeting, I had brought up the issue of fencing. Phantom Canyon RV Park, in my opinion, should put up some screening of some sort so that the visual impact of this luxury RV park might be softened or toned down a bit. Phantom Canyon RV's representative, Ms. Bellantoni, stated after fencing was brought up that the Phantom Canyon RV Park has fencing in place to the south. I'm a neighbor to the south. They have no fencing in place. That's all mine, on my property, my dime.
Do you live there, Mr. Bond, or do you actually live somewhere else and you own that piece of property?
I am currently going to build a house there.
So you're not there currently 24/7?
Not 24/7, but about 18.
Thank you.
Out of 24 hours.
So let me clarify that fence too. It's between you and their property, but on your property, but it's on the property line.
Yes, it's not on the property line, it's on my side, on my property.
So really her statement was correct. There is a fence there, whether it's yours or theirs, there is a fence there.
They said they had it in place.
Okay, which may not be true, but there is a fence there, correct?
There is.
Okay.
I had to do something.
Okay.
Let's see, they have no fencing to the west to designate the property limits. I brought this up, the fact that Colorado is a fence-out state, no denying that it's on the county website after Codes of the West.
Can I ask you your point for that? You are accurate. That's 100% accurate. But what is your point to that? Do you have cows?
Yes.
Do they get on their property because there's no fence?
I fenced them in because there are no fences in place to keep them out of.
So the way that reads and the way that works is if they were getting out or going down and getting on their property, it's their responsibility to fence them out if they don't want them on their property.
Correct.
Not yours to keep them off their property. It was theirs. So they don't have to have a fence, but they have to put up with your cows on there if there's not a fence there.
But the way it was interpreted by me, I can't have my cattle on their property when there's an open gate there and they're not maintaining a fence out to the highway.
To get out to the road, yeah, that would be a
problem. So that's the weak point right there.
Yeah.
But the fence would also provide something else, because what has gone on here, without offense to, especially to the west, the RVers, the renters there, don't know where the property line or the limit is. So now we've got dirt bikes and dune buggies, and they've gone far beyond the 70-acre limit of Phantom Canyon RV Ranch. That's all open grazing land there. Grazing land's not meant for dune buggies and dirt bikes. I've watched motorized vehicles go well past the arroyos west of my property, west of Phantom Canyon's properties, and I've seen dune buggies out there. Once again, fragile grazing land is addressed on the Fremont County website. This is grazing land for cattle, not trespassing or motorized vehicles. I've also had to deal with trespassers who've entered my property through the arroyos, coming past my fence line looking for arrowheads. I don't want them on my property. I don't want somebody hurt. Somebody needs to have some kind of border set up because, for one, this has gone past agricultural forestry. This is a commercial operation that's going on. I'd also like to say that in closing here, what is reality in respect to this luxury RV park is that in no way, shape, or form is it a luxury or high end. We've seen these grandiose ideas on the overhead the last time we were here. They were presented to appease the county and going along with what I consider to be empty promises. Debbie Bell was in the local newspaper stating something to the effect that she'd been sticking her neck out for this place. Why? Make them comply, the rest of us do. If not, we're all entitled to equal protection under the law. Why should I or my neighbors comply when this is going on right in front of our eyes? No one is in favor of this in the community and surrounding area. We're tired of the blowing trash, which is obviously from the RV park. Chris at Twin Enviro, he doesn't like having to pick it up. He has an agreement with the county. He doesn't like picking it up, but he has to because he's responsible for trash within a mile of their site. We all who are around there, the people, we love the environment, we care about it. We don't like seeing horses that are penned up in a tiny pen next to an RV. These people are obviously there long term. We don't like the dune buggies cutting donuts. I've heard talk of a shooting range that may be proposed.
That has nothing to do with what we're discussing today, sir, so.
That's why I say proposed. And what I have here is, you know, I'm trying to protect my rights as a property owner. And that's why I've come here today to seek help here in Fremont County in this format. I have relied to my detriment that I was buying agricultural property. That property out there historically has been used for ag property by people like Johnny Wilson, Vern Estes, who I bought it from. I feel as though after this, I probably will have exhausted my local remedies here. Certain things here do fall under state issues. I will follow up on that. I don't want to turn this into a who blinks first, but you know, if necessary, I'm going to go on with my, you know, a final attempt will be made to the state and the federal government on some of these issues. I own that property. I'm trying to protect my property rights. That's not what I had intended, and quite honestly, if you look into the legislative history of forestry and ag land where they say camping is allowed, my interpretation of that was it wasn't supposed to be turned into a commercial venture. It was more or less for farmers, ranchers who had some land to maybe have the Boy Scouts over there for 3 weeks out of the summer and have a holding tank there and pump it out. Not the scale which we are. So really, in closing, at the very least, I think by allowing Phantom Canyon RV Park to move forward with any more spaces, we're putting B before A. They need to have their infrastructure in place. There's so much they're non-compliant. Why would we allow them any more spots at this point? Let's see actions speak louder than words.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bond. Is there anyone else who would like to rise to speak to this board? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close this public hearing. The public input portion is complete. We will turn back to the applicant to address the issues that have arisen. And I have at least one more question that I would like to add to your list. I'm looking at your current website, which pronounces in big bold letters, park is currently undergoing an upgrade, adding additional 20 new RV lots. Rates are discounted during construction. All sites enjoy full services. So my question is, why are you advertising this before you have approval? All right, Dr. Bellantoni.
I don't have to answer that one, right?
You can confer, you can bring up someone else to answer, but I would like an answer to that question before we're finished today. So if you would like to bring Mr. Slayton up to answer that first, that would be fine.
Actually, I would like to just answer the two issues that I can answer, because I am not operations, I am paper.
All right.
Right, and paper to planning and zoning. To Mr. Saunders' point regarding sanitation, and yes, it is a concern. I mean, yes, very much so. And his recommendation that all improvements, that is the septic tank and the bathhouse, be constructed prior to additional spaces seems very reasonable. And I think that can be done, especially since it has the site plan, everything is on there. So to his suggestion, prior to any expansion, I think that is doable.
So I just want to comment on that. To my recollection, that was a condition of the initial SRU, which they have until March 10th, 11th, whatever to do. It's not going to happen. So it's out of compliance right off the bat. So
We are aware.
yeah.
It's November, we were told to cease and desist.
So
I want to finish. I want to
Okay,
finish.
finish.
Please may I finish, and then I'm going to let Mr. Slayton come up here and talk. Okay. The next thing is the trees along the Highway 67. That came up too, because in the drainage plan, there was a berm that was required for drainage. And the challenge was planting trees on and where, because that berm had to go exactly correctly because of drainage, and then putting trees on it for visual or wherever it compromises the berm. So that's why the trees were pulled from the west, that is along Highway 67, and were then proposed for the south. So that's the drainage plan that was approved in 2020 caused that challenge, and Mr. Garrett said that made sense to him because that berm has to be there, and you moved that one.
So, I'm sorry, Angela, the trees would go where in relation to
South,
the berm?
along the south.
Along the south side.
Along the south side to provide
Gotcha.
a visual barrier to Mr. Bond.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. And that's really all I have, because Mr. Simpleman's concerns are operational issues, and those are outside of my purview.
All right,
So I'm going to have Mr. Slayton come
Let's
up.
bring Mr. Slayton up, and we do reserve the right to bring you back up for additional questions, but thank you.
I'm going for donuts.
Just bring me one.
Good morning. Thank you.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Yes, my name is Mitchell Slayton, and congratulations on your chairmanship.
Thank you. And you are the owner of the park, is that correct?
One of them, yes.
One of the owners, okay. All right, go ahead.
So, can you repeat your initial question about the website?
Yes.
There's a lot of things I'd like to address, but I
Your
will address yours
website
first.
currently says the park is currently undergoing an upgrade, adding an additional 20 new RV lots. Rates are discounted during construction. I would like to know why you are saying on your website you are upgrading before you have permission and approval from the county to do so.
That we did for, I did not take it as if we had final approval. We've been telling everybody that we are waiting for approval for this date to continue construction, that we've been told not to. And we put on the website so that people who are visiting know what we're doing and what we're going for. So maybe it wasn't the best word to put, but there was no ill intent. We have not done anything. We have kept since last February, when we were told to cease and desist every little thing. We have stopped every little thing. We were told for a year before that to stop by Sean Garrett as well, and we have complied, and all we do is get hit on the head for not building and not continuing, and I don't get it. We want to continue, we want to build this park, but we are told not to. The last thing we were told that this SRU was to correct everything, and we were told to do nothing until this SRU could be done and approved for us to go ahead and correct everything. So that's what we've been waiting for.
Okay, so I would like for you to address issues that you can change, issues that you can fix.
Absolutely.
We've had a lot of testimony here today. We've had a lot of questions today.
Okay.
We were originally told this would be a luxury RV park. We've seen the pictures from the visits over time. There's nothing that I would say is luxurious.
No one's going to say
We
it's
also were guaranteed that you would be focusing on self-contained RVs only, as described by county code. Each vehicle will be inspected as it comes on site to ensure it meets specification. Only vehicles 10 years old or newer will be allowed, except in the instance of some rebuilds. The pictures that we have, I guarantee are older than 10 years by 30 years in some cases, and they have not been rebuilt. So those are the kinds of things I would like you to address. The trash that's there, why do you have animals penned up? Why do you have refrigerators laying around? We have the pictures.
Yeah,
We have seen
I'd
those
like to
things.
address all that.
So if you would stop pointing a finger at someone else, please, and explain to this board why you are not in compliance with the many things that you should be in compliance with right now.
Okay. First of all, I don't have the right to take a gun and put it to someone's head and force them to act. That's not something that I'm legal to. I have procedures that I have to follow, eviction procedures. Okay, that's the best I can do under the law. The guy with the refrigerator, okay, he was, we worked with the sheriff, okay, to have him arrested, okay, because eviction takes at least 30 days, then you go to court to gain possession of it, and then we have the legal right to remove it and take it off the property. So that's the way that works. The sheriff came to us. We worked with them for one drug dealer. There was a drug dealer there. He's still in prison. His rig is still there. We are still evicting, and we're still waiting for the courts to get permission to go ahead and remove it. We just can't do it. It would be an illegal act by us. As far as the bed, we got rid of all the beds. We explained last time that every few months, what we do is, if we notice that the park is getting a little dirty, is like with a mattress or anything, we will go ahead and tell them, put it by the dumpster, and we at our expense will go ahead and remove that. We've testified to this last time. We've had code enforcement out so many times that if there was a violation, the last time Wyatt came out was for a complaint that we were dumping septic openly in a pit. And he came out and he told me his exact words: there are no violations on this property that he sees. His words. We are constantly being scrutinized, and if you had heard, if we had done anything egregiously or wrong, you would have heard about it well before now. Okay, because we have been in front of the three commissioners on other matters and other complaints. So as far as that's concerned, we have kicked out a lot of people. The park is pretty empty. We're anticipating being able to move forward and finally being able to build the park. And that's been really the problem, is we have not been able to build the park. You allowed us to open, thank you, on March 11th, okay? And then after that, every time we took a step to build the park, we were told to stop. We had to do this, we had to do that, and it just, for 2 years, we were told not to do anything. So let us build the park, let us build it right, and we will give you the product that we promised, but you can't tell us not to build it and then ding us for not building it and doing what we're told. We have been basically doing everything we've been told with planning. I have not met with Mr. Simpleman yet, but I have Dr. Bellatoni has on multiple occasions. We've met with lots of people, and we've just been capitulating, and we've just been trying to move forward. We have not been allowed to move forward. We were told that this SRU would have everything encompassed, everything fixed, okay? And
Can I help?
please,
I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay.
Based on what I heard. Help me if How are you going to fix the trespass so that people know where the boundary is of your property, so that Mr. Bond doesn't feel like people are going onto his property? A sign?
okay,
A fence?
we're going to put, see, this is the first time I'm hearing this from anybody,
Just
okay?
respond.
So we're going to put up a fence. We'll put up a fence. Right now, we have a roadway that goes down to the old owner's space, and that's where they're getting access, and we'll just fence it off.
So you have two other owners west of you. One is the Aries and one's McKinsey Ranch.
McKinsey Ranch?
Yeah. Do you see people bleeding off of your property onto those properties with ATVs and stuff?
And the way, we're in a desert mountain, so if people were doing ATVs or like they were, like suggested, you'll see the tracks. There's no not seeing the tracks. You do it 2 or 3 times, it wears, and it takes 3 years for this stuff to grow back.
Well, I realize that, but do you see people going off the west side of your property? Or
I don't see
or the
anyone
south side?
trespassing.
Or the south side even, because
I'm
if
gonna
they
be
go
very
off the west side,
specific.
they're trespassing. If they go off any side, they're
No,
trespassing.
and so to the, like I said, I walk down there all the time, okay? I have a hip, so I have to walk. So I walk down there, and there are no tracks. The last tracks were from the 1970s when the oil people drenched, and they're like grass grown over and things like that, but there's no tracks of ATVs going down to the lower 50.
So the answer to the trespass
We're gonna
is
put up a fence.
A fence and then signage on the fence. How about addressing,
And we'll put in the park rules.
yes, how about addressing, and there were a lot of issues, Micah, so you're going to have to guide me. How about addressing animals in fences that look permanent? What are you going to do?
Okay, so the animal in question, the couple split up. In the middle of the night, he brought an animal to the RV park. We evicted her immediately. She's gone, the animal's gone. Done. That's as much as we're allowed to do under the law.
Is there some way that you could, on just the management of the park with your 5 assistants, because it seems to me that this extra stuff, like a refrigerator, a mattress, things stored outside, this stuff needs not be there. It needs not be there ever, ever. So perhaps
Not one day.
there should be, the person who is the hostess or host needs to make site visit routinely, at the beginning of each day perhaps, and if there's an issue, they need to let that person know that they have this amount of time to clear up or leave. There needs to be a stricter rule regarding things outside of these structures.
Our lawyer drew up a 10-day cease and desist or to comply, which we use liberally, and then he drew up an eviction notice on top of that to make it easy for us. And then after the eviction, like I said, to gain access to the property, go to courts, he drew up a 3rd form for us, and that's what we're using. If you notice, the park is a lot emptier than it was even a month ago. That's because we've been cleaning it up.
However, Micah was just out there yesterday. Did I catch that? And he had quite a list.
The refrigerator, I explained to you, that's the guy who went to jail. We're seeking permission through the courts to remove the rig and the refrigerator. Okay, I don't think I have
Is that the same one that had the eviction notice on it?
Yes.
That is no longer
That's,
on it?
that's the one, if you're familiar with the property, you know the guy that's parked at the end this way instead of this way? That's the guy.
So
Okay, so we want to get rid of him too. We have to.
I still need to, you keep talking about, well, when we have problems and when things don't look right, then we try to get rid of them, we try to evict. Nevertheless, your website actually asks the question when you go to make a reservation, how old is your RV? You still have RVs out there that you're accepting. It's not like you've accepted them when they were 10 and the day they were 10 and a half, they fell apart. So if they are problems and you see that they are problems when they're pulling in, why are you accepting those people? Why? And I also need an answer from you as to overstaying that 30 days, because we have photographic proof that that is happening for months and months on end.
Okay. What I can tell you is that with the last planning commission and the SRU before you, okay, we had corrected that 30-day. That 30-day was actually a mistake. No other parks being held to that. It was something that we did not catch in the original one, and something that we
Let me stop you for just a second. When she started the public hearing last time, Dr. Bellantoni, the first words out of her mouth, almost in that public hearing, were the expected stay is 1 day to 30, preferably the 1 day because you wanted to turn people around.
Right.
And then it was mentioned 3 or 4 more times in that public hearing. You didn't miss that. You knew that that was what you had proposed. That was almost the very first words.
I'm saying yes, but at that point, we were in the hearing, and I didn't know procedures. We did mention it, but it's something that we did fix on this one. So it's not anyone had to ask me to fix it. It's something that we just fixed on this one.
But it also is something you should have been in compliance with to begin with, and you were not. So if you would address the age of the RVs that you're bringing in.
Okay, so the ages
So
of the...
hold on a second. For clarification on
Sorry.
that, what do you mean you fixed it on this one? You're saying that if we approve the new SRU, that that'll fix the 30 days?
We asked for...
That's, just say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that still doesn't answer the question as to why you let it go longer than 30 days, because that's what the original one was. Now you can go into the second question.
The age of the RVs.
Okay, the age of the RVs, we qualified it that as long as everything was working and that they were looking good, okay, we would vet them. So it's 10 years or newer, and then we would vet after that. We've always stated that. And yes, in my absence, yes, some RVs are there. Yes, we've been kicking them out recently. As I just pointed out, there's a lot less there now. We, you know, I'm sorry to say, but if we were allowed to just build the park that we originally proposed to you, none of this would be happening right now.
So let me ask you some questions. For the
That's
first
the bottom
SRU, what are you doing about dust control on the roads in there?
We just asked you to put up a fence.
No, I'm talking about dust control on the first SRU said you would have 6 inches of gravel.
We have something like 12 inches of gravel.
I'm looking at some
Singing.
pictures right now that were taken in November. There's no gravel on this, man. It's,
Then we put asphalt on top of the gravel. And so what we did is we went to other businesses to see how they were handling the water and the runoff. And what we did is
I'm sorry. So the gravel challenge, and I saw this, I walked it and got there. The gravel was that we had excessive rain that year, the opposite of now. And all the vehicles, that clay ground just sucked that gravel in. And that's when they decided that they had to change from gravel, because they kept putting gravel and it just kept sucking down. And that's when they decided they were gonna try the recycled asphalt. And that is in the new SRU application.
so that also includes the entrance off of 67.
Yes.
It's tracking, there's a picture here of it tracking mud onto the county road. Very bad, actually. What has been done about that? Because that was an original.
Since that's an older picture, I assume.
Let me find it and I'll tell you. But what's been done with that
Well,
now?
what we did is we originally proposed a cattle guard, okay, but Sean told us, I'm sorry?
Tracking device, you were gonna install a tracking device.
A tracking mat,
device.
not a...
Tracking mat.
Yeah, tracking mat.
A tracking mat, okay? Sean, I don't remember how it went, but it somehow or another, the county told us not to put that in, to put in the asphalt. So we put in the asphalt, and it works.
You put in recycled asphalt or asphalt?
Recycled asphalt. So I'm not really technical, but it's the stuff that's broken up, and you heat up, and it melts.
Yeah, but did this come from another job where they ate the road up and then brought it in and piled it, so it's recycled? So it wasn't ever heated and put there, right?
It was just dumped,
It was
correct?
just dumped
It was
like
just
gravel
dumped
and
there.
spread out?
It was, yes, it was
Okay.
dumped, graded, and yes.
So how is that holding up?
Going back together like a road, sir. The sun is doing it.
Yeah. And it seems to work as well.
And that was done recently then? Because this picture was in June.
It was done
About 6 months ago.
6 months ago. We got special permission from building, from planning to do that, rather.
Say that again?
We had got special permission to do that. I think Dan was there then?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
So-
allowed us to put that in.
I also have another question for you. The original SRU, there were supposed to be 3 poles of light, 3 light poles installed. I just found out from you a while ago that 2 of them just now got installed.
3.
Well, there was 1 installed early, and then 2 more got installed in December, I think you said. They want 3 more. Well, why did it take so long to get the other 2 poles?
Again, you know, we have Sean Garrett since February. You had that conversation with me in April. April 29th, but he told me in February not to cease and desist all activities.
Yeah, I'm confused
Okay.
about that one too. That's
And-
the first time I've heard of this.
Yeah,
I don't
me too.
know if you guys have heard of that, but this is what
Then
about that?
we did something. I think we applied for a permit for a driveway, and that set things up in motion. Dr. Pelletoni got involved, told us we can't do anything, so we just let the permit lapse.
So let's
I mean, we've been trying to...
let's stop right here.
Okay.
This whole not being allowed to do whatever. We have no specifics. We have no timeframes. We have no timeline. What specifically were you stopped from doing? What is it that was constantly being stopped? You're characterizing this in a fashion that kind of flies in the face of my own experience here in this building and with the people that work here. And so I need to understand from March 10th, 2020, from that point forward, I need to understand, and you may be tasked with this, what is it that for 21 months now, we are unable to see the stuff that needs to be done, the OWTS that needs to be in place, all these things that are on the verge of coming to the end of the deadlines, the who, what, why, when, where, none of that's been detailed, and we're expected to just go, oh, well, we weren't allowing you to do it, oh, therefore, we're just going to write a blank check and say, okay.
I would like to reply to this.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And I understand your question, and it's a very valid question, and I would like to say a lot more than I'm going to say. In September of 2018, we were approved with all engineering. We were on the Planning Commission's docket, and without any knowledge, without any discussion, Sean Garrett removed us from that, and it's been this ever since. That's all I'm going to say for that. We have had challenges. We've had code enforcement come on the property constantly. We've had, I'm sorry?
Company ownership and involvement change?
Yes, we had, okay. This is 100% on me. I picked a partner who claimed he knew more than he did about construction. And it was the wrong person. We got rid of him. We brought in somebody responsible. Unfortunately, he was not here to meet you today. He wanted to be here. But That was a big part of it. I'm not going to deny that. That's on us. But once again, we were on the Planning Commission's docket 12 times. 12 times. 12 times we were removed at the last moment. So 12 times we've met with, and remember, these are zone changes. This is not an SRU. Zone change is a lot larger application. 12 times, and I even complained to Commissioner Bell. I spent over $4,000 in just papers, just to submit them.
Was this before March 10th, 2020, or was this subsequent to?
This was before March 10th.
So what does that have to do with
Okay,
this
so
then?
since March 10th was my former partner, okay, who we thought he was moving forward, and it turns out he wasn't. And I didn't have an idea. It was actually a call from Don Moore that gave me a heads up, and that's when I started paying more attention and getting involved. And it got to the point where we had to get rid of him and bring in somebody new. And we sat down with Sean Garrett, and we came up with a plan that everyone could live with. And that's the plan we're trying to execute today.
So would you answer his question now?
I'm sorry.
Answer his question. His question was, since March 10th, 2020,
Okay.
you're saying that you were told to stop everything.
Okay, no, okay, so since March 10th, we started building, what did we do first?
Nothing.
I don't think it's that complicated.
I'm trying to remember the order, but I'll let you.
Okay, I think the answer, Commissioner Grantham, is mostly, and this is me looking from the outside in at all of this for the last 2 years, was the partnership that didn't work. Because it is, from my understanding, it was the other partner that was responsible for all the installation, and he was the face of the park to the health department, to the building department. He was the face to Sean Garrett, and that did not work. And it was soon after January of 2021, somewhere in there, February, that the new partnership formed. And these are the people that I have been working with. Mr. Gipple is very capable. And Mr. Sauger is the other partner that has actually attended multiple meetings with the county, and he was here at the Planning Commission. So that
happened in January of 21?
21, yes. And then I will say that I was confused about the meaning of stop everything, but that's what I interpreted when he said stop everything. But the intent was, and I was a busy...
Who is he?
Sean Garrett. Sean Garrett said stop everything, and I was really fast getting the application in April 29th. I submitted this May 24th, bada boom, right there. So we should have been July Planning Commission done, but things happened and that got paused. So yes, should this have been resumed in August? Yes, that was the plan. So there would have been a very short stop, but that's not how this.
So what was he saying to stop?
See, he told us, I heard him say, do not do anything on site until we get your final site plan. We'll have the SRU updated. It'll have your new road system. It'll have 3 septic systems. It'll have everything exactly correct. It'll have utilities. It'll have the trees on the south side. All of this will be fixed. And everything will be and then he said, and the sheds. Make sure you have your sheds there for storage. So he said, have that on there, and then everything is good to go.
That's with the modified SRU
With this major modification, yes.
I still don't, okay.
That's
I
all-
get
that's what I
that,
understand. Okay.
but I think the part of, I think initially some of these conditions had to be met within 4 or 6 months. That's well after that fact. The only thing that was given 24 months was the bathroom facilities, which is obviously not going to happen by March 10th. If you do, that would be amazing, but I don't think it's going to happen. You haven't even applied for an OWTS permit yet, so.
We have bids out, and we're waiting for the bids to come in. They'll apply for the permits, and this is the first time we are hearing today, because we did put in the permit, we did pay for it, we have been waiting to hear for the bathroom, to build the bathroom.
You put in an
because we
application.
promised the planning commission that we would be, show good faith and move forward on the bathroom. So we did what we were asked to do at the planning.
Commissioner Grantham.
So for the first 9 months, 10 months, there's bad business partners that are mucking up the works, is what I'm hearing. And then January, all becomes right with the world, and it's rainbows and unicorns now. And we have a good business partnership, and things are supposed to progress forward in 2021. Some conversation is had with the former planning director, and process gets rolling again towards the end of April of 2021, which gives less than a year from that point forward, not counting the other 4 months between January and April, which I'm still confused about why there's this limbo there. But all that being said, we're coming up on 24 months here very shortly. And all of these requirements that needed to be done, whether things were stopped or whether they weren't stopped by Mr. Garrett or in agreement with the owners, former owners or current owners, the first 10 months from March to December in 2020, and the problems that existed in the former partnership, I don't know how to put this any other way except that's not our problem.
No, it's not.
And the 10 months that you lost because of that, when you got 2 years to get all this stuff done and work with our departments to get it done, not our problem, yours.
May I comment to that?
Yeah.
Again, I hired somebody who I thought was, the bee's knees in construction, had experience. He oversold himself. In the meantime, I'm receiving bills. I know you don't want to hear about the, the theft and embezzlement.
Lots of things I don't want to hear about.
But I'm receiving bills that this is all moving forward. I'm being guaranteed this is all moving forward. I'm not hearing anything negative. And so I assumed that everything was moving forward because that was the best information I had at the time. And when I was told that it wasn't, that's when I came back, and I've been hands-on. And I will be hands-on until it's done.
Madam Chair, I've got a motion if you're ready.
Okay, yes, I think we have more than enough information. I still have some questions, so I hope I understand where you're headed.
If you want to ask
with-
questions, go ahead. with
No,
that.
I need to figure out some things in my own mind. Additional testimony is not going to help me with these things. No,
Sorry.
we are done.
I would move that we table this till February 8th, which is 1 month. We need to schedule a workshop. We have a lot of information here that is useful and some that's not useful, to come up with whatever the findings are that may take it one way or the other, but February 8th.
And I will second that. I'll make my comments during my vote. I'll second that.
Okay. A motion and second are on the floor to table. Question?
Can I say one to Commissioner Grantham's point of understanding that the 10 months in 2020, you're right, that's on Phantom RV. The partnership was not your choice, that's correct. However, please, in your considering, the months from May 24th to December 7th are not on Phantom RV either. That's when our county was struggling and everything kind of went on pause, because technically they should have only lost from January to, say, July. And had this been on the normal, had things just been normal and not had the challenges we had, then Phantom RV would have had from July or August at the latest, let's just say, August, and they would have met the March 11th deadline. They would have had those months, and
Right.
they would have gotten it done.
Okay,
So, okay, just.
thank you.
Please.
All right.
Understood.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor to table this decision on SRU 21-002 Phantom Canyon RV Ranch Major Modification, requesting this approval. Property is located at 505 County Road 67 in Penrose. This motion includes the commissioners and our county attorney workshopping to come up, I believe, with a list of findings, which will help guide the eventual decision that we make.
Correct.
All right, that is the motion and second. I will ask Commissioner McFall, do you have any final comments? Commissioner Grantham?
Yes, I will just comment that given that there's just a little under a month between now and that day, I hope to see tremendous progress in less than a month.
I was going to ask you, what can we do?
Well, and maybe our attorney can.
Well, they still have an approved SRU that they're not in compliance with.
Well,
Let's
that's
put it that
true.
way.
I mean, there is an existing SRU that is not in compliance, and we have to, I'll leave it at that.
Madam Chair, if I might, I said I didn't have anything, but I do. Mr. Bond, your comments will also be taken into account as well as everything we heard from anybody else too, just so you're aware.
Absolutely. All right, all in, all done? Roll call, please.
Commissioner McFall?
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you all so much for your time today. There being no further business to come before this board, we are adjourned.